Last Vini Curiosity case of the year, the October case. It's been a great year. I hope you've really enjoyed all of the cases. I've loved it. It's been a really good year of Vini Curiosity. For the Wine Club, also been a great year. We came in runner-up in the Decanter Retailer Awards, which is the same as we got last year, so we've repeated it. And actually the winners are the same as well. It was really good competition this year. We're very, very happy with that result. For when a company that's just Emma and I, and we're just doing Italian wines, it's great. Now we're super happy. Anyway, October. Now your case will be delivered on either 17th, 18th or 19th. Do let us know if there's a problem with any of those dates. The tasting will be on the 20th. It's very worth mentioning now that the Piemonte case, which is booked to go out twice a year, is going out on the same date, 17th, 18th and 19th, but the tasting will be on the 19th. So if you want to slide in an astonishing tasting the day before your Vini Curiosity tasting, or, you know, I do record it nowadays, so you can have the tasting anytime you want and slip it through, do buy it, because it is nine different wines. Piemonte case is not fixed by numbers, because it's fixed by the amount that we have in our budget each 6 months or every 6 months to buy the wine. So really what I'm looking at doing is buying the very best bottles that I possibly can. So I doubt it'll ever go below 4 bottles. I'm not going to do anything crazy and buy a sort of 300 quid bottle of Brunello that's going to blow the budget very often, maybe never. But this one, I just picked my favourite Nebbiolos that we've been shipping. So this case I'm so excited about. It's got Oreste, it's got, I mean, have a quick look at the preview for the Piemontese video that'll be online at the same time as this, and you'll get some idea of the quality of wine that we'll be running. So yeah, do just buy it. Add it onto your case. It's money well spent. Back to this case though. This is a great case. The reason why Piemontese case was invented was to take to take the heat really out of Vini Curiosity and my obsession for Nebbiolo, and bring in different things. So actually, you know, I think the last 2 Vini Curiosity cases have improved. Well, not improved, they just changed a bit. They can't improve, but taking Nebbiolo out of a case doesn't improve it. Anyway, in Alto we kick off with, we've already had in Alto's Cerasuolo, you had that last time, and I bought 3 wines from Alto, and the reason I bought Alto's wines, I just thought these are brilliant Vini Curiosity wines because they're high altitude, they're beautifully made, they're quite natural wines, they're organic, verging towards biodynamic, they fit into that kind of category of winemaking. They're very precise, really good style. They're very much my style of winemaking as well, because I love these high altitude expressive wines, full bodied but really extraordinary plethora of flavors you get. So this first one is the Bianco, the Abruzzo Bianco. The reason it's Abruzzo Bianco, the Abruzzo don't really, well, they've got a DOC, Abruzzo Bianco, and it covers the blending of the white grapes. And this one is Trebbiano with Pecorino. And the combination is absolutely superb. You get some of that tropical fruit just edging through, whereas you've got the more citrus and focused power of the Trebbiano. And together they make something really extraordinary. It's a great, great wine. Then we go to Cantina di Marzo, so we're going right down to Campania. And this is, we've done before a sort of compare and contrast 2 of his crus. This cru, the Ortale, this is the one which has the highest content of volcanic matter in the vineyard. So it gives it that salinity, that tension, that ethereal kind of quality to it. It's a magnificent wine, and 19 is such a nice vintage, and that little bit of extra maturity has really improved the wine. It's tasting fantastic actually. So I think we're going to have some fun with it. Then we go into the red. And the reds, we start off with Oreste Buzio, brand new producer for us this year. We've been following him for some time. It's a very small producer. We actually bumped into them here in Biella. There's a restaurant at the top here, a slow food restaurant. And we tasted his Grignolino actually, which is in the Conspirators Wine Club case this month or this quarter. And the Grignolino is fantastic. So we went down to taste the Grignolino, and they also have an Albarossa. Now, some of you will know what Albarossa is, but it's a real albatross. It's such an unusual variety. And it's unusual because it's a crossing that was made best part of 100 years ago. And at the time, it was thought to be Nebbiolo crossed with Barbera. Back in the 60s, they took another look at the variety, though, and they discovered that it wasn't Nebbiolo at all. It was Chatas, which is another local wine, which has a second name, which is Nebbiolo di Tronero. That's probably where the confusion came in. They probably it's a laboratory crossing, so I think they just got it a bit mixed up. But it works. It's a really, really good grape. So you get all of that colour and expression of the Barbera and the tannins coming from the Chatas. So you get a deeply coloured, full-flavoured wine. And this is aged in French oak, in Tonneau and in Barrique. And it makes 1,000 bottles. This is tiny production stuff, but organic production, very sensible. One of the sons, because Oreste Buzio, Oreste's the dad, he works with his two sons. They're both part-time. They've both got other jobs. But Andrea makes wine in Lombardia, and he did his dissertation when he was studying. He did his dissertation on Albarossa, so he's pretty sharp on Albarossa, and the vines are now 10 years old or more. So he really knows what he's doing. This is, for me, it's one of the best Albarossas I've tasted. It's fantastic stuff. I didn't know where to put it in this tasting actually, because we've got 4 pretty full-bodied reds this time round. It is winter coming up, so I've tended to shunt the heavier ones in this time. And then we go into an Arato for the Rosso. Now the Rosso is 2016 vintage, and this is one of the things that's tying this tasting together. We've got 3 wines from the 2016 vintage, all very different, but all excellent producers, and quite nice to taste them together actually. So if you've got the small bottles, I'd pour them all out and have a little nose, see how they've developed. It's one of the great vintages. I think of recently 2006, 2016, 2 of my all-time favorites. 15 was hotter, 16 was really just a bit more restrained. So anyway, in Alto's Rosso, it's a Montepulciano from the Abruzzo. Could be a Montepulciano d'Abruzzo. In fact, it is in the future, because he gave up, if you like, the vanity of calling it Rosso. It's called Rosso because they didn't really want to add, well, you can buy Montepulciano d'Abruzzo for very low prices, and they didn't really want to put themselves alongside the other Montepulciano d'Abruzzos. So it's a little bit like the Super Tuscans, where you just declassify Divina da Tavola. It's doing something slightly similar with this wine, and just declassifying it down, because he doesn't want to be compared with everyone within that classification. It's a very big classification. It's not insane, but it's a bit of a pity, and it'll change. This wine, though, remarkable intensity. This is just a great red wine by any standards. Fantastic quality. Then we go to the third of the reds, which is Rudy Cosimi, Brunello di Montalcino il Poggiolo. We've had Rudy's wines before. And the Brunello di Montepulciano from, did I say Montepulciano? I didn't mean that, Montalcino, from the 2016 vintage is off the scale. 16 is a vintage I've kind of been waiting for. We've been trying to sell out of our 15s. Even though I love the 15s, 16 is just, this is legendary vintage stuff. It's magnificent. So the Sangiovese in this has just got a lovely, lovely richness to it, not overblown fruit. The ripeness is just right, not too much spice, lovely purity. It's a great, great wine. It'll go on for decades. It was one of the most exciting Brunellos I've tasted for a while. And it leads me into, this just sounds silly when everything's great, but it is this time round. The Amaroni 2016 from Carla Bionda is one of the maybe nicest Amaroni I've tasted. It's fantastic, because I like them when they still have the freshness. So I'm not looking for big maturity. I like to be able to drink a bottle of Amaroni, and this is what Alessandro wanted as well, because my problem with a lot of modern Amaronis is that they're undrinkable. Well, they're wrong way of putting it. Of course they're drinkable, but they're too heavy to want to lay into the next glass and the next glass and the next glass, because the alcohol's high, the acidity is low, they've got high levels of sugar. And this is the problem. And the reason for that problem is global warming, really. So people are picking the grapes at the same time, or when they're actually far more mature than they would have been 20 years ago. So the sugars are higher, the acidity is lower at the time of picking. And Alessandro had spotted this, and he's got a problem with this as well. So he had decided, I need to pick the grapes earlier. So he's moved his picking of the Amaroni grapes forwards from October to August. So he's now picking them before picking the Valpolicella Classico. So what this means is he's bringing in grapes with a potential alcohol of between 11 and 12%, rather than bringing them in when they're already chomping out 14, 15%, which means they've got more acidity, they've got less alcohol. By the time you've dried them, they've still got an enormous amount of alcohol. You know, these have been fermented out to 16 degrees, but they've got the freshness of the acidity to actually make them a joy to drink. So this started happening in 2015. The 15 wines were beautiful, but I think in 2016 he's nailed the progression of this evolution of his Amaronis. And this is such an exciting wine. I mean, it's you know, for somebody, I'd tired of Amaronis, and this has kind of brought back some of my enthusiasm for them. It's a magnificent wine. So we've got 3 magnificent 2016s, the 2018 Great Vintage 2 of the Rosso, fascinating wine, the Oreste 19, brilliant, and the Bianco 18. So this is a great case. There's no way, no two ways about it. If you want to add anything to your case before it gets delivered, do drop us a line or just send us an email, place the order. Do remember to log in first so that your discount works. Wine Club members do get a discount, but they don't if they don't log in, because the system's not set up for that. If you're having any trouble with the login, do just get in touch with us. It would be a pleasure to help. But yeah, if you want to add anything at all to that case, because do remember, it's free delivery for that case, so you can just add onto it. If you want to add the Piemontese tasting wines, do get in touch. It'll be great to see you at that tasting as well. It's going to be fantastic. And also, if you don't have the small bottles and you just want to come along and chat, find out roughly what these wines taste like from the point of view of everyone else within the group, you'll get the Zoom invite. So please come and join us. Also, if you want to turn up at the Conspirators Zoom tasting the week before, and that is on the 13th, do come and join us. It's great fun. We'll be talking about the Grignolino there, and also the Piemontese tasting. Even if you don't have the wines, it's always a pleasure to see you. Do come and see us. So that will do. We're all in Biella at the moment, as you can see. I'm going to be cycling La Roica this weekend, going to Cinciole tomorrow to visit, and then up to Le Micine. Tough life. But I kind of love it. And you'll know at least if I'm in pieces for the tasting, it'll be the result of trying to cycle over the white roads of Tuscany. So look forward to seeing you at the tasting, and hope you enjoy this case as much as any of them. Okay, bye.